Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to At Best Mediocre in 2026. We are still going to be trying really hard at gaming and fitness and just being healthy in general, but really, we're just going to be having fun, getting beat up a lot. Okay, so today, since it is New Year's, of course, everyone I know is talking about resolutions, whether it's things that's trending right now, things that people are working on, trying to do, or, a lot of promotions going on out, a lot of gyms, especially the big gyms, big box gyms always tend to do a big push, even at our own gym, we see a lot of people showing up. The class on Monday was insanely packed. Great things, of course. Everybody should be coming in and training and doing all their thing, doing all the good things, right? Getting fit. But I wanted to talk about something that I'd been working on kind of personally for the past month or so, or actually longer, but like I've been I try to I kind of experiment and check in on things, see what works, what doesn't work, and that's why I want to, share it with you guys. I really like to dig through the nitty gritties. But the thing about New Year's resolutions, wow, is that every time I look at it, every time I talk to anybody, for years now, I just hear it's such a thing, do you have a New Year's resolution? What's your goal this year? What are you trying to accomplish? And some people have huge lofty goals, some people have given up entirely. Which, there were definitely years where I didn't really commit to anything, think about anything, and or even come up with anything because it does definitely feels kind of pointless a lot of times, right? And I think the issue is, looking at it is that a lot of times the resolution itself is abstract. That seems to be like the number one, the first hurdle at least, okay? And so first of all, it's like there's going to be ones where I'm going to get fit this year, right? Even if you say like I'm going to lose X amount of weight, I'm going to get shredded, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to sleep more, I'm going to take care of myself, take a focus on my mental health. And while those things sound concrete, none of them really answer the questions of like how you're going to do it. When are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it? Right? What are you going to do it with? Who are you going to do it with? Any of those, And so if you're thinking about like eating better, it's like, what are you going to eat? What are you going to change? What are you not going to eat? When are you going to eat? Where are you going to be doing this? Right? Like, are you going to be in the kitchen cooking a lot? Are you going to do some kind of subscription like Factor? Um, or like I'm gonna cook more meals and I don't know how to cook, so I'll do Blue Apron. And that's cool and everything. I will say, like, as cool as that is, I have tried Blue Apron and it is way too much for me. Like the meals are just way too complicated. So that being said, like that's one of the other hurdles is committing to something and like picking a direction that's actually too difficult for you to execute, right? That seems to be like the pretty much the second hurdle is like, okay, I'm gonna do this and like I have this abstract idea. And then after that, there's no way to go about it. So you're basically looking at like point A to point B, but there's such a huge distance between point A and point B. And there are all these multiple different paths that you can take. And so really you just end up not taking any. And like the first step is always the hardest. And if you don't know where that first step is, then you're kind of just stuck. Or the first step you take is a huge step and it's bigger than you're ready for, and you're just gonna crash and burn, right? Like some people are like, okay, I'm gonna get fit, and they just like go fucking hard at the gym. And then you're fatigued and or you might even last a few days, a couple of weeks, whatever, but you burn yourself out without the buildup, without that the exhaustion, the just like tiredness, the defeatism, right? Because you're not going to see results right away. So you're pushing really hard, you kind of hurt yourself a little bit, or like what's even more common is just like getting injured, especially in like martial arts. Um, People come in, they fucking go hard, they pull something, or you hyperextend something, you fucking tear a muscle, twist something, just go too hard, aren't able to recover. If you're not building up and you're not used to that process, then recovery takes longer and then you don't end up doing anything. So all of that is basically to say that, for me, at least like what I'm working on is one of the things is looking at um, what exactly is stopping me from doing things, right? And so rather than going into like all the what you should be doing, etc., I'm just gonna kind of talk about the things that I'm looking at and what changes that I want to be making. And this really, it actually has nothing to do with like New Year's resolution or whatever. There were just some things that are on my list that I've been trying to do, and I work on a little bit and I back off, and I work on and I back off, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what's making me back off, right? Um, so I always have a list of different things that's like, there's always going to be different things on my plate, right? And everybody kind of has their own variations. Some people have kids, some people have elderly family, family at large, a lot of friends, needy friends, and friends that you need to hunt down, work, different side projects. Um, House stuff, like things fall apart around you, things just break nowadays, and so you're constantly having to deal with that, a lot of paperwork, a lot of like phone calls, right? So there's always going to be a plethora of things that's going to be on your plate. And so outside of that, like I personally have some health issues that's like that I've had all my life, and really it's just like pretty draining. My anemia kind of comes and goes, and so when it kind of dips to the lower end of things, I really have to focus on like replenishing the iron level. But it definitely drains my energy a lot. And this weather, for some reason, I'm like really affected by the lack of sun. And of course, I pick a place where there's not a lot of sunlight going on. But it definitely has good lighting though. Like realistically, cloudy days give the best lighting for videos and photos, which is why this is a good spot for it. But anyways, and then I get sick a lot. Like I have a shitty immune system. And so as a kid, I always got sick. And even growing up and even into adult years, I would get sick like 5, 6, 7 times a year. And then I worked on my health quite a bit, and that kind of dropped down to like 2 or 3. And so that had been really nice. But like with COVID and all these new viruses coming out, there seems to be like one or two every year or something. And like I had RSV, I did catch COVID eventually, and then I went to China and I caught Chinese COVID, which is a very different strain. That kind of knocked me out, and like I happened to be at altitude, and just like that, all of that compounded on my nervous system. It's giving me like palpitations and stuff, and causing additional issues. So while I was exercising all summer and in preparation of hitting altitude, um, I did all these things where I was like eating better, I was watching my calories, trying to improve sleep and whatnot, improve my hydration. All of that was working, and then of course I got sick, and then the altitude and whatnot, and I come back, and no matter what I do, basically it's like there's a lot of fatigue daily, and you know, if you go to therapy or whatever and you talk about it, and there's a lot of focus in therapy about kind of being kind to yourself, right? Like I've always been hard on myself. I'm always like just push through things and whatnot. And so that, not to say that's not like a viable option at times. Or there are times when you just need to fucking buckle down and do shit, okay? I still believe in that. I think that you can't just like coast just because. But there are times when I'm like, I'm sick, I'm just not feeling well. I don't have the fucking energy, right? And then I don't feel well here, I don't feel well there. And then my heater broke down. I have to call and like get that fixed. Um, just like issues around me that I need to deal with. Um, there's a never-ending flow of like dishes and cooking and whatnot, right? And so for a while, I was like, all right, maybe I will be okay, like eating out here and there. Um, Not a huge issue. Still watching my calories and whatnot, right? But like ultimately, it's just like it is more costly. Um, and so basically for me, it was just a matter of like, okay, I definitely like I want to train. That makes me feel better. It makes me happy. I have a good time with it. Um, it's definitely something that like takes my mind off of all the other shit that goes on, like keeping up with my family and finding projects to work on, finding work that brings in income, finding work that's more meaningful, um, etc. Right? And so it all just like as far as New Year's go, look, it just happened to kind of line up with all of the things that I'm doing, and so I'd been kind of slowly integrating a lot of these things, um, slowly meaning like week by week, not like stretched out uh, for months and years and whatnot, right? It's just like you find something, integrate it, find something, integrate it. I'm trying not to like integrate everything all at once, basically. But essentially, since like for the past like couple of months, for like the past month, couple of months, starting I'd say like late November, early December, um, I kind of started integrating a bunch of things, and especially coming back from my trip, um, the sun definitely helped being away and like honestly learning something new, putting myself in a position where I'm doing something that I'm uncomfortable with. I'm kind of I love the water, but also the ocean, like the vast entity, like the endlessness of it, and like the fact that I don't really float. Uh, I do float better in salt water, but I don't really float, and so the ocean kind of freaks me out a little bit. But surfing just looked cool, so I wanted to try it, and I did. And putting yourself in a situation where you're learning something new and something that you're like kind of freaks you out a little bit, puts things into perspective. And so, not like a huge like whoa light bulb moment, but it was a nice reminder of what you're capable of, when you just go for things that obviously like for me like skydiving, no thank you. I'm just not into it. Like I don't get it. I don't see it. Um but like for me it's like anything that's like actually insanely dangerous, there's just no need. Like it's not at that point it's not overcoming fear. It's just tempting fate, you know. But really like surfing's not dangerous, right? So, well, to an extent, okay? I get it. There's shit going on. But all right, so basically all of these things that I've been looking at is like, okay, constant fatigue, right? At that point it's like, okay, where does self-kindness end and where does overcoming begin? Right? There's only a certain point. I'm like, look, if you focus on self kindness so much, eventually you're just never going to get anything done. Not true for everyone. Some people have simpler lives and like things maybe don't go wrong, or like you just don't have that many responsibilities, right? And you like you make money, you spend money on yourself, that's it, or whatever. Um, I have a lot of things that I want to do in the long run, and so which requires that I find ways to be able to support my own goals and my family. Um, and so for me, it's like, and there are just like projects that I'm interested in. I really want to work on and see how they pan out. So there's just a lot of things that I want to do, and not being able to do it, like sitting there. Anemia is gonna drain me. Okay, I'm tired. Maybe I'm kind to myself today, right? And I take it easy today. And then I get sick. Then you take it easy. And then I get injured. And I take it easy. And then I finally have the energy, but I have all these fucking things to do. I have to take care of the things around the house. It's not gonna magically fix itself. So I have to do that. I had to get my tires changed. I mean, like one day it's this, one day it's that. And if it's not this or that, it's being sick, being injured, being just naturally sick because of who I am and, the things that I was born with. And so eventually, that doesn't leave a whole lot of time for me to do all the things that I actually want to do, right? Like podcasting or recording videos, just doing shit, editing photos, designing fun stuff to wear, and it just, eventually, like, of course, I believe in being kind to yourself. Like, all these years of just pushing, pushing, pushing has exhausted me, and sometimes it's like, sometimes you work on these projects, especially for work, like you work for a company or whatever. Sometimes you just like don't really see the fruit of your labor. Like it's not that it is pointless, it's that you don't necessarily see the point. You don't get any benefit from what you're doing. And what you're doing doesn't benefit the world. It's just like this hamster wheel transaction shit that goes on that eventually is just like mind numbing, right? You just do stuff and what does it even matter, you know? And at that point, it's like, okay, take a break, take some time, take care of yourself. Totally for it. This past year, I've just been sick a lot, injured a lot. I tore my shoulder again. Um, my knees have been, I think I tore my knee earlier on. I can't even remember at this point. It was like, it was fucked up. I went to the doctor. The doctor didn't really help me. They wanted me to do like PT before they'll do the MRI to see if there's anything to fix. And basically, she just told me that they're not going to do it. They're probably not going to do anything about it. And I'm just wasting my time. I appreciate the honesty, but I also like, I'm just going to have to switch to a different doctor who actually wants to like tell me something concrete that I can do and not just fucking brush me off, right? Um, so for me, I took the time to kind of, I've talked to a bunch of people. I've worked with like different coaches. I've even worked with like some people who say they're life coaches or whatever, right? Like realistically, it's like whatever you call yourself, people with knowledge, experience, ideas to share. I like to just listen to different perspectives and see outside of that, working with all of that and then like real and then also um training my AI to give me the type of uh, analysis and like quicker feedback that than I could come up with. But like framing it in a way where it's actually helpful rather than just like because you everybody knows this AI is there to kind of like stroke your ego a little bit, right? Everything you do, even if you say some dumb shit, they're like, "Oh, you're so smart." Um, I have tried it. I have said dumb shit to it, and it was like, "Oh, this is great," and I'm like, "Please don't." um, and if you train it enough, it will give you what you need. So a lot of times it does end up just being user error, and as much as people don't want to fucking admit it, um, it's just a fast acting computer that does what you want it to do, does what it thinks you want it to do. And so if you're user error, whatever, right? Okay, so basically, with all of the different perspectives that I have, all the different tools that I have, what I come up with is that um, I need at this stage, like as much as I don't like even taking ibuprofens or anything, I do end up needing some kind of supplement, right? Outside of just like eating well and whatnot. Like, look, I can only eat so many vegetables in a day. I can only, like, unless my life revolved around cooking and eating specific things all the time, like, I would have no time to play video games. And realistically, that's what I want the most amount of time for, right? Like, I want to train, but multiple reasons. It's fun. If I only trained because it's fun, I would only go when I felt like going. But I also know that it's like it's a fun form of exercise and I need the exercise and so I go for that too. Right? So it's not just going for fun, but I did pick the thing that's the most fun to get done what I need to get done. And honestly, I don't know why I didn't have that mentality with everything else. Um, I kind of do and I don't, right? You kind of eventually, like as you grow older, you're like, okay, I need to do this. I need to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And eventually, like things that you kind of don't need to do, you think you need to do anyway. And you start kind of shifting priorities and like really lower priorities for things that you really actually like to do. And that's why everybody's fucking miserable, right? So basically now I'm like looking at supplements, right? And if you go into your, I'll do a whole other thing on like actually how to fucking use your AI so you stop fucking it up. Okay. I mean, if you already use it, well, great. If you don't, like understand how it works, how to train it to give you what you want, and you'll get a lot out of it without doing anything crazy. Okay? Without like fucking losing yourself in it too. Like understand it's a tool. It's a very powerful tool, but it's a tool. So it's up to you how to use it. Okay? But basically I had it tell me like type of supplements I should be using, like when and where I can use it, or like which ones are actually worth the money, which ones aren't, which ones to get potentially, and sometimes it doesn't have an answer, and that's fine too. I might have to do some digging on my own. Um, but things that I would like to change, I'm like, okay, so I'm like tired all the time what to do. And one of the funniest things, like one of the things I train it to do is to kind of be really talk to me like I would talk to my friend, right? So like when I talk to my friends, I try to be kind, but at the same time I try to be real. Like if somebody asks me a question, if they're like, hey, how do I look today? I'm not gonna sit there and fucking fluff them up. If they look like shit, I'm gonna say they look like shit. Right? So my friends always know what they're gonna get with me, which is you ask me a question, don't fucking ask me a question if you don't want the answer to it. If you want to hear somebody fluff you up, go talk to somebody else. I get it. I don't disagree, okay? I get it. Sometimes you just need a little fluffing. Cool. But that's why we have different friends. Different friends give us different things. We have friends that are like really nice and positive, and we have friends that are really fucking real. We have friends that are really dumb. Let's not forget those who are just kind of entertaining and funny. Add sprinkle of color to your life that you wouldn't normally get with the more serious ones. Maybe, or maybe like people are too fucking smart, and all of a sudden it's like maybe that's you don't need everybody to be smart. I don't know. I prefer everybody to be smart, but you kind of can't avoid dumb people these days, right? Um, but basically, like I would what I'm asking isn't just like, okay, the supplements, whatever, right? And then it's like, okay, if I'm fatigued all the time, how the hell am I going to get anything done? And one of the things that it pointed out, which, I've said to other people, right? Sometimes you just forget things, is that we get in these patterns. We get stuck in these patterns that some are self-created, some are not environmentally created. I feel like everything's kind of my own choice, right? So like all these things happen. I get sick, this and that. All these things break down. I have all these things to take care of. You got it soon enough. We're gonna all be doing taxes again, and I bog myself down. And I, once you start focusing on self-care and being kind to yourself, eventually it's like, okay, I'm kind to myself this week. I'm kind of anemic and I'm exhausted. Cool. I'm kind to myself next week. I really didn't sleep well. I have all these things going on. Okay. I'm kind to myself the third week. I got injured. Fourth week, I'm sick. Anemia again. Things continue to break down, all these things. And eventually, I'm just so focused on being like the resting part that I'm waiting to feel good to do things. And that was very helpful because it reminded me why it kind of like reframed almost why the resolution things don't work. Because when we make a resolution, oftentimes, all the ones that I hear anyway, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to eat better and whatnot, it's the desire to have a different pattern without shaping one, right? So we say it's abstract and whatever. And when I say without shaping one, I mean shaping one that fits you. I'm never going to be the type of person to enjoy running at 6 a.m. I I got up to train. When I was in Thailand, I got up to train at the 8 a.m. session, right? I got up at like 7, I ate my breakfast, I got ready, I headed over, and I trained. That's fine. But the people that went running before the training session, I drew the line there. Maybe I'm like if I was serious about it in terms of like, okay, I'm competing at a professional level or whatever, then yeah. Or like I want to compete at a professional level, then I'd be training that way too. I'd just suck it up and do it. Okay. But the fact that is I do it for fun and I do it for my own enjoyment. I did want to improve, which means I did have to put in the work, but it didn't mean that I had to put in the work at 6 a.m. So I would train, eat, relax, go for a run before the afternoon training session, and then go do the training then. And I'm like, okay, I got my running for the day. I just didn't do it in the morning. But I do know a lot of people who are like, oh, I love getting up early and hitting the gym. And we have a 6 a.m. cardio class that I won't say never, because if there's someone that wants to take it that I know and just need a buddy, I will go with them at one point or another. All right, but that's just not who I am. Um, I'm always gonna want to play video games. It's just maybe it's because of how I grew up or whatever. But basically, it's like I like to eat what I like to eat. I love food. I like to eat tasty things. So if I have like shitty, bland, not even bland, it's just like boring, lame, whatever you want to call it, like food meals for too long, it's gonna drive me insane. So even though I'm like meal prepping, whatever, I'm making like larb, right? I don't do a lot of added oil, maybe a little bit, but like it's all about the aromatics, um, with rice, and then I'm like, okay, I could deal with like broccoli or whatever, right? Um, like add some vegetables in and whatnot. But basically, like my supplements go with my life, right? So I'm adding supplements in. How does that work with my life? And that's an additional cost. So how do I offset it with something else? Unless you're making more money, spending more just doesn't really make sense. While it's like something necessary, you can always look for other options. And again, like using AI means that it's just faster research ultimately. Like I don't really like go exactly by it. It's just a frame of reference, right? So I look up, like I used to just like sit there and Google all the time, and I'm like, what supplements and what does this do, what does that do, and like which ones should I mix and match, and I do all the price checks and whatnot. This just saves me a lot of time. It does all the checking for me, and then it does the recommendation, but I always like go through and make sure that all the check that all the references make sense and are meaningful and are reliable, scientifically based, etc. um but then it's like, okay, so it wants me to do XYZ supplements, right? At XYZ times. So now you have the what and the when, right? But where it happens also matters, okay? Like I used to get vitamins and whatnot, and I never take them. Why? Because I put them in a specific place where they made sense to be put versus putting them in a specific place where it makes sense to be used. That's a huge difference. All right. And so now it's like, okay, multivitamins, fish oil, whatnot, things that I need to take at the end of the day. Generally, like that's when I like to take it. Then I like right now I have it in my drink cart. And so at night, like they're always within reach basically. It's either near my desk or near my bed that I can like move it around in and whatnot. But usually like I spend so much time at my desk that as long as something is next to me, I'll see it. Right? I'll eventually see it, even if I don't see it right away. Other supplements like pre-workouts, like post-workout stuff, all of that stuff goes at the fridge because that's what I do. And so like if I prep electrolytes and things like that, like pre-post electrolyte, then I just add the supplements to that and just like prep it daily near where the coffee is, which I'm gonna be at every day anyway, right? In terms of food, it's like, okay, try to meal prep, and you know what? I used to do it in big batches, and then I would just like make a big batch and then put the whole thing, like I'll cook something in a pot and I'll stick the whole pot in the refrigerator. And that kind of works, but I'll like scoop some out and I just kind of eyeball it, right? And that's like simple enough. Um, but then it's like sometimes I scoop more, sometimes I scoop less, right? I'm like, okay, I'm really hungry. I'm just gonna like take more, even though I don't really need it. Um, so now I have these deli containers that are a specific size, is basically like one serving at a time. Whether it's like an actual like recommended serving, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? It's just like pretty much like consistent size every time. And because I know how many ounces or whatever the container is, then it's easier for me to plug into the calorie counter too, so that I don't have to like guess what it is. I can pretty much just say like, okay, this is this container of rice. I think it's like 8 ounces or something. And that one is like 8 ounces. Okay. I just plot it in and it's a lot easier than like, and of course, like, look, I know that like I've seen pros do it, right, where they have like the gram, the scale is like way more accurate. I get it. For me, an estimate is good enough, um, close enough estimate, and I usually kind of round down a little, like round up, so that it's like down on my calorie limit, if that makes sense. Like I'll hit my limit earlier. But I do try to be a little bit more accurate with this. So like the brand does matter sometimes if I'm like doing anything pre-made. Um, but basically it's like if I just say I want to get fit, that just me in my mind it would just mean going to the gym more. When am I going to the gym? I don't know. Right? So then I'm like, okay, I need to clean my house. Do I clean my house or do work? Okay, but then I need time to eat before I go work out. All right, so if I need time to eat, then I eat, and then I'm like prepping for going to work out. But realistically, I do have a gap of time, which, like, once I eat, I have what? However long before I have to leave the house to be able to go train or go to my client or go do whatever, right? Um, During that time, like, I don't necessarily like to work on a long project, but I will sometimes jump on depending on what it is, or sometimes I sort the email, or I just like, I'm like, okay, I have this gap of time, I'm just gonna watch a video and whatnot. So instead of doing that, it's like, okay, well, then I have to clean my house, and I'm like putting off cleaning out my house. So then mixing that into the matter is that I could eat clean before I leave. And so just kind of mixing things into my lifestyle that then fill in the little pockets rather than leaving the empty pockets and waiting for having that time to do it, right? So when it happens, if you actually plot it into your life in a way that you know you can accomplish it, then you'll actually get to do it, right? If you know specifically what you're going to do, if you're like, okay, this window I'm going to clean, I'm not just fucking going to clean the house, okay? I'm not going to like vacuum halfway and leave, right? But I could vacuum one floor. Okay. I could like clean one bathroom. I could fold my laundry. I could dust. I could scrub the shower. But like having one specific task instead of just like, I'm going to clean, right? This is my cleaning window. Today, I'm going to do this thing. And that's it. And if I have time left over to do something else, maybe I do it, maybe I don't. But if I just do one task every day, then at the end of the week, that's 7 tasks, right? But if I keep putting it off to like do it all together, then I need a larger chunk of time to do it all, in which case, like, that's could be a lot on your mental bandwidth too. Um, okay, so that being said, right, using AI for me is a great tool. Again, just a tool, not like an all-knowing type of thing, whatever. Although it has gotten really good, and so it's not easy. It takes a lot of discipline to train your AI to do what you want it to do. And if you don't do that, then you're going to fail yourself at it, is what usually ends up happening. Um, but you can definitely use it to help you get a frame of reference, right? And then you can plot it into your own calendar and see what works, figure out. For me, I take it, I plug it into a calendar of some sort. Sometimes I write it out. And then I set different alarms for myself so that I don't necessarily have to think about it too much. That way I don't have to keep referring to something. I just like set reminders for it. Um, but yeah, so that at least for me is like a way to integrate change, a way to first come up with what aligns with your goal, something concrete that aligns with your goal in a way that fits how you like to do things. That each of those is important, right? But I feel like that is kind of a crux for a lot of people is like, I see other people doing something that works so well for them. I should replicate it. But realistically, replicating somebody else's life is just very difficult. It's difficult to commit to because everybody's different, you know. So understand who you are, understand where your limitations are, but also be real about like how kind you are to yourself. At what point is your kindness your own crutch, your self-kindness? Because I can still be kind to myself, you know. I didn't feel like going to the gym yesterday, but I kind of was like, I'm tired, I'm not feeling great, do it anyway. That might be my new thing for now, is just do it anyway. And then I went, I had a great time. I came home, I'm like, I'm still tired, but I got something done instead of I'm still tired and I sat here. At least I felt better about the fact that I did something. And that's one day. Then today, I will do something again. Tired or not. I actually feel a lot better today. Um, Partly, I think because I did something yesterday that I'm not no longer like then the next day, right? You're then like beating yourself up or something. All right. All right. So I'm gonna wrap it up for now. Okay, that was pretty much what I, at least like for the most part, what I wanted to get to. It's a little bit chaotic as my mind is right now. There's just a lot going on, but again, do it anyway. All right. I'm tired, do it anyway. I'm a little confused, do it anyway. Um, Next week we're gonna touch on the same topic again, but a little bit different. I'm going to invite a friend of mine, um, who is a wonderful, wonderful fitness coach, incredibly intimidating in their fitness, I will say. As someone who enjoys exercise to a certain extent and really is like, I want to be fit to be better at my sport type of fit, versus some people are like fit to be fit and they're like really fucking good at it. It's pretty intimidating. She's like really good. And, I'm like, I'm not that strong. And I see other people do, and I'm like, they're not bigger than me. It's pretty crazy. All right, but she has a lot of good advice, um, good thoughts on the topic itself as well. And considering she's like a gym owner, personal trainer, all of that, um, I'm looking forward to this. She's gonna bring a lot of good thoughts on this topic, and hopefully, give you guys some useful tips out, whether or not my use AI to kind of reframe your own personal pattern resonates with you or not. But hey, if you have any thoughts on if you have your own resolutions that you're like, this might have helped you decide to flesh it out in any specific way, or like you already have one that's fleshed out that you think is going to be great, that you might want to share with others, that it could help, please do so. Hit us up and see where we can help everybody out, because ultimately it's like everybody struggles with this thing, or at least like most people do. Some people are insanely fit, which I'm like, good for you, insanely fit and healthy and are able to focus on themselves a lot. I mean, kind of good for them, but also that a lot of times people who are really good at focusing on themselves let everybody else fall off the plate a little bit, which is not something that I like to do, right? So it's a matter of kind of figuring out a way to balance things uh, in a way that you can be happy with. And so, with that, see you guys in the next episode.